This is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 20 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. You ever read a book that gave you, like, spooky chills?
Yeah.
Spooky chills, right?
Yeah.
Death's Favorite Child is the book we want to talk about right now. On the phone is the author, Frankie Y. Bailey, correct? Well, it's a Y right there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Frankie is a professor of criminal justice in the School of Criminal Justice at the University of Albany, New York. And she's an award-winning author. Her book, Death's Favorite Child, is a Lizzie Stewart mystery novel. And I can't wait for you to hear what this is about. Good morning, Frankie. Good morning, Professor Bailey. How are you?
Good morning. Please call me Frankie, and thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Are you in Albany right now?
I am in Albany.
I used to go to Albany a lot, Robin.
Oh.
I lived on Long Island, and there was a lady there who couldn't drive, and I would drive her to Albany, and she'd put me in this nice travel lodge.
Oh, my gosh.
That's all I know about Albany. Well, thank you for being on the air with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So who is Lizzie Stewart? Let's start with the main character.
Lizzie Stewart is a criminal justice professor, a crime historian. She was born and raised in Kentucky, in Drusilla, Kentucky, my small fictional town. And when we first meet her in the first chapter, her grandmother who raised her has just died. And so she's regrouping and thinking about what to do with her life.
And then she goes to England, if I remember right. Am I right?
Yeah, she goes to London and then on to Cornwall, and she's meeting her friend Tess, who's a travel writer, and they are going to spend a week in Cornwall by the sea in a private hotel, and that's where the murder happens.
The murder. Okay. Yeah. What murder? Yeah, I knew that was... A murder, right?
The murder is the housekeeper in this hotel, a young woman who's keeping house there, and she and Lizzie are out on the trail, one morning, early morning, and she dies, and Lizzie is a witness, and thereby gets drawn into what's happening.
Oh my gosh! And this is, Robin was telling me, this is a reissue of this book.
Yeah. There are 5 books in the series. It was with a small press, a wonderful small press. The series came out and went out of print except for copies you could find on Amazon. And so now it has been picked up by another publisher who's reissuing in different formats, including ebook, which has never been in before, which is really popular now, of course.
Right. Yeah.
But because it moves so slowly in series time, the book is now in the recent past. So it's in the last book that came out was in 2004. In fact, I've had a couple of short stories, and the last short story came out in 2017, and it was in 2004. So now I have the luxury of being in the past, where I can write there and not have to deal with some of the technology now, and also not have to deal with a lot of things that have changed since I started writing the series. And since I'm a crime historian, it gives me the luxury of being historical now.
You also have you also are a humorist. I mean, there are different conversations that Lizzie and Tess has, and then they meet some interesting people, and sometimes Tess will make me laugh because she has statements about other people saying, oh, she's this and she's that, when that person is like elaborating on stuff.
Yeah, well, in real life, I'm not that funny, but when you're writing, you have the luxury of going back and revising and getting it right. Uh-huh. I can never think of the right thing to say at the right time.
I think you've been with us before. Does that sound? You sound?
Yeah, I have. I think it.
The Red Queen.
But the books came out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
The Red Queen is my Hannah McCabe series, set in Albany.
Oh, okay.
And the Near Future. So I have the Near Future book and now the Near Past series.
Oh my gosh! Sometimes it takes a while for things to click with me. Well, good. I'm glad to have you back on the air with us. So, does it scare you? Like when you're writing this, do the chills come to you, or is it kind of a progressive thing where you have to build on it. Like you said, you go back sometimes and things become funnier than maybe you would have if you hadn't gone back to them.
Well, I think for me, the struggle is just to get through the first draft because I'm a plotter. I have to outline and then write and then outline some more and then write. And so I don't really know. I know where I'm going, but until I get to the end, I can't really go back and think. I love writing dialogue, but I really can't go back and really deal with it well until I get to that point. But when you mentioned Chills, the second book in the series has been issued, and that is actually set on Halloween night. It begins on Halloween night, and that one gave me chills because it was set in a building that's a lot like the building that I worked in Albany, where our School of Criminal Justice is set, and it has a really old, creaky elevator, and Lizzie goes in, and the lights go out, and it gets scary.
Oh, man.
And Lizzie is a very interesting character because you also made her courageous because she, like you pointed out, grew up in Drusilla, Kentucky. She was there like most of her life, and then all of a sudden she's going off on this adventure in England. I mean, that's a huge step for her.
Well, she did go away for college, and then she, too, is an Albany graduate. She got her Ph.D. at the School of Criminal Justice at Albany because we're the second-ranked school in the country. It's a really good school. We were the first, still one of the best. So I wanted her to have her degree from Albany. So she was here in Albany for that period and then went back home to Drusilla because of her grandmother. And so she was teaching at a college there, university there.
The book is called Death's Favorite Child, and if you want another one, The Red Queen Dies, you might want to look at that one also.
And also A Dead Man's Honor, which is the Halloween book with Lizzie.
Okay. So I have a copy of Death's Favorite Child. If I have a listener who would like this book, just give me a call. And I'm looking at the wrong clock. We're not really done yet. I thought we were done. But anyway, if you want the book, call me. And the rest of us have to go buy it. So I'm not really saying goodbye yet, although I normally do that at the end. But this clock is so wrong over here. Okay.
Well, I've been having the same problem all morning. My clock,
oh, really?
Are 5 minutes ahead, and others are 2 minutes behind. So I've been trying to figure out what time it is all morning.
Have you ever had any real I guess paranormal experiences?
Oh. No, just my grandmother. I grew up in the South in Virginia, and my grandmother would tell us these ghost stories. So, these really creepy things, but I've never really had one myself, and I don't think I really want one.
No, not if they're going to be creepy. No.
Nothing bad happened. It was just, she would tell these creepy stories like we were driving along and the moonlight in the wagon, and we saw this woman walk out of the graveyard, and she walked along beside the wagon, and she didn't say anything, and then she disappeared back into the woods. So those kind of creepy things that you keep in your mind.
Yeah, that is creepy.
Since you are re-releasing this whole set of books, are you tempted to go back to rewrite anything?
No, not really. I think I couldn't change anything. It's like that ripple in time. If you try to change one thing, everything else is affected by that. And actually, I didn't know how the series was going to evolve, so it turned out better than I expected. I didn't really know it was going to be a series when I was writing it. So now in hindsight, I can go back and I know what happened with the characters, and that gives me the luxury of being able to talk about that evolution as someone who was writing it and didn't know where it was going.
That's awesome. So do you notice a spike in readership around Halloween? I was just wondering if people pick it up just because it's the season.
Because it was a small press, I have to tell people, it came out and there's this Halloween book. And so that's one of the reasons for rebooting and remarketing again, because I miss those readers who are now there and might go back and pick it up. But yeah, it's set in, back in Gallagher, Virginia, where Lizzie goes after she returns to the States. She has a job there, now. And years later, she's the head of this institute. But back then, she was a new faculty. And another faculty member is murdered in that building on Halloween night. So
Wow.
These are great.
Frankie Bailey, thank you so much for being on the air with us today. Good luck with everything. And for the rest of us, go to, let's see, Amazon for the book. And do you have a website of your own?
Yeah. It's www.frankieYbailey.com.
Hey, easy enough. FrankieYBailey.com. Thank you, Frankie.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
You're welcome. We'll be right back. This is WOCA Ocala.
Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. Last night's Mega Millions jackpot knocked the record some were estimating, with one ticket sold in South Carolina hitting
28.75, 62.65 in the gold Mega Models 5.
One ticket matched all 6 numbers in the drawing for the $1.537 billion jackpot. Original estimates for the jackpot were $1.6 billion, and that would have been a record for lotteries, but actual sales came in just short of that, and it's the second biggest ever.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. The record jackpot split between 3 winning Powerball tickets nearly 3 years ago.